Hey there, hello. How we doing this evening? Hey, it's the panfish guy. I got on here a little early. My software actually did work this weekend, so check. I'm just checking my microphone. There we go. Okay. And please, guys, as you join, let me know if you can hear me all right, please. Uh, It is it's hard for me to discern that without turning my phone on. I get a huge echo. It gets weird, but I might have to do it anyway, just because. Where am I at? My videos live. Uh oh, it's not showing in there. All right, not sure why. Okay. Anyway, looks like we got one on. Who's on? Give me a shout. Let me know who. Let me know who we got. Uh, just trying to make sure that I have audio and everything sounds all right. It's kind of hard for me to determine from this side. Usually it's okay, but sometimes it's weird. So, anybody on there? Can you say hello? Can you let me know if you can hear me? Hello. 126. Can you hear me all right? I know this thing's got a delay on it too. So, um, do this. Can you hear me? Hello, guys. I'm stalling a little bit. I just want to verify I got audio, and it's weird that it's weird that see, I'm in the YouTube app, so I should be getting. Ah, here we go. Let's do it this way. See if I can hear myself on here. All right, there he is. Okay, thanks, old boy outdoors. How you doing, buddy? Come on. All right, it's working. All right. I just wanted to make sure it's working. So let's see. We got a whole whopping 2 viewers on it. Looks like it's weird. Facebook. There it goes. It bumped to 5 now. So I was just killing a little time, hoping some more people log on because I don't like talking to myself unless I need some expert advice, right? So, and it's usually not about fishing. It's about other stuff. But uh, so anyway, how are we doing this evening? It is a couple of minutes after 8, so we're gonna get right to it. Um, I'm I'm gonna preface with I'm quite unprepared for tonight's episode. I've been just kind of working on other stuff this afternoon, so but we do have a good fishing report, and if you haven't heard, the spawn is on, guys. It's good to go. But I've heard that from some lakes that you gotta. It's not like you can pull up on every piece of shoreline and start throwing at it and catch a bunch of fish. They're on the move a lot, so you have to do the same. You have to move with them. So move around if you're not getting on something right away, get elsewhere and try another spot because you're gonna get mad after a while, like I do if you if you sit there for a while and nothing's going on. Because I promise you, them fish are spawning. I know. I ran into some on Thursday when I was out. I got out for a little bit yesterday. Promised myself I was going to Cedar Lake uh, today, and then it didn't. I'm gonna get to that. Old boy outdoors. Yep, for sure. Especially Crab Orchard Rend. was actually supposed to get up to Ren last Thursday, but then the weather was a little dicey Thursday afternoon, so I skipped it. And I understand it was a good idea, but yeah, so but I might get up there this coming Thursday if everything lines up correctly. So, and that's going to be kind of a special episode with some other folks involved too. So, can't say a whole lot more about it yet, but it'll be a lot of fun. But hopefully we can make that happen. So anyway, let's get to a fishing report, and then I just want to talk a little bit about kind of what I've been up to here. So, um, in terms of and I do want to mention too, I've I recently added a new page on Facebook. It's called Southern Illinois Fishing Intel. Um, that's that's a new page I started, and I started, it's something I wanted to do actually when I first started the YouTube channel was kind of get a weekly fishing report going. So we're going for bi-weekly now, but that was 5 years ago, and um, I realized pretty quick that I really didn't know enough to get a good report together, or to I didn't know enough people to get a good report together. But as time has progressed, um, I've met some interesting characters that are helping me out with this. So, um, I think it's fairly reliable info that I'll be able to throw at you. But basically, what I'm doing is I'm I know some guides on different lakes. So Ren Lake, Shelbyville Lake, Carlisle Lake, and I'm basically getting info from them as far as what the bite's like, what's going on, and in return I help plug their companies, if you will. So some are tackle makers, some are guides, some are both, some make fishing rods, So um, as a courtesy, I'm kind of help plugging their products while we're doing this, right? Um, and then I'm also looking at different uh, different social media posts and kind of extrapolating that info kind of into the report. And again, sometimes I don't know how coherent it's going to be, but it if you hopefully you can take something away from it. But and then I'm also including my own experiences when I'm out fishing. Thursday I was out at Crab Orchard. Um, Rand, I'm hoping to be out there this coming Thursday. So, um, and we'll just kind of see how it goes from there. But I'm kind of throwing my information into it. Not that I'm a guide or anything, but just my experience, what I'm running into, what I'm finding, and if that helps you guys out, then that's what it's about. So, um, but if you haven't checked it out yet, appreciate if you go over and look at that Southern Illinois Fishing Intel page and invite some of your buddies to join it. And I'm always looking for say you're kind of into business, or uh, you want to you want to be a contributor on that page, by all means, I'm open to that. So um, if that helps you advertise a product or something, then by golly, let's do it. So it's all about growing the page, and kind of get a lot of getting a bunch of people on there, and having a nice community of folks helping each other out. That's really what it's about, is helping each other out. These guys that are giving me fishing reports, they're helping me out. The least I can do is help them out by promoting their products, right? So that's kind of where we're at with it. But I just wanted to kind of explain that, kind of what I'm up to there. I'm not out to make a buck on it. It's just again kind of a hobby thing. So, um, but it's I felt like it, you know, it's probably been tried before, and I'm assuming it's failed before, and I can't say this one won't either. But yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, and anybody else that jumps on, if you're on and you're not and you haven't said hello, please do so I can shout at you and say hello. So just let me know. Let me know who's on. Looks like I got three right now. Woohoo! 3 viewers. Ha. So anyway, but okay. So let's get into said report. I just wanted to kind of explain what I was up to there. So I want to start. Let's start up north. So um, we've got some great friends that live up on the northern part of central Illinois. So we'll call it Lake Shelbyville and Clinton Lake. So I've got a couple nice, excuse me, nice pieces of information from up there. And so my buddy Lee Sharp, who owns Brush Pile Jigs, was out on Clinton Lake on, was it Wednesday? Yeah, I think it was Wednesday, and a live feed, and he was just casting. He was casting a little jig of brush pile jigs, Wyatt's Blue Magic. It's kind of blue and chartreuse jig, and he was just throwing it up to the bank, slow retrieving it. About the time it hit that drop off, bam! He was, I mean, just one fish after another, and he was catching some nice ones too. So he was in a little place, and he said, "This is no secret. He has no secrets." So he was in a little place called Campground Cove. Anybody up there familiar with it? Uh, and yeah, he was putting the hammer on him, and he was throwing them back. You know, kept a couple, but he didn't keep a bunch. So, and he was like I say, he just throwing up to the bank, real slow retrieve. Once it hit that about 3-4 foot, bam, they were just killing it. So looked like a really good time. So and they were all black. I mean, dark fish, you know. So they're all hormoned up, getting ready to do the thing, right? So looked like he was having a good time. And so that's Clinton Lake. Check that off the list. And again, you know, guys, that's a little north of here, but you know, I feel like I do have folks on the on my page and on the YouTube from up in that neck of the woods. So I feel like it's a good thing to include that. Plus, it's free information, right? So, and all right. So our next lake would be, and again, that report is courtesy of Lee Sharp with Brush Pile Jigs. BrushPileJig.com. All I got to say about that. I'm not partial or anything, but you know, I could be. You never know. But and then our next lake would be Shelbyville, Lake Shelbyville. So we have a good buddy who is a longtime guide since he's going on 30 years of guiding on Lake Shelbyville now. Mr. Steve Welch with Lake Shelbyville Guide Service. He's been at it for a long, long time. And he publishes, and he actually has this out on his website, so I'm just kind of reading off of his website. But he publishes a bi-weekly fishing report. And can you see this? Yeah, it's on the screen behind me. But I'm not actually sharing my screen, but it's on the screen behind me. So, but he publishes a bi-weekly fishing report from Lake Shelbyville. He also guides at Kentucky Lake a few weeks a year, but not extensively, just a couple times during a year. So, but primarily on Lake Shelbyville. And his report, excuse me, that's terrible. Every time I do a live stream, I got to yawn. I don't know why. And guys, I can't see any comments right at the moment, but I'll get back to that here in just a second once I get off of this page. So from Steve's report, this was basically he does bi-weekly, so like 15th through the 30th, 1st through the 14th type thing every month. Um, this one is dated for April 15th to 30th. He published it on April 18th. He's saying water temperatures today were 60 to 61 degrees on the north end. Colors very dirty up by Wilborn and over at Bow Woods. Those are both where you got tributaries coming in. You got the river and all that. So water's kind of dirty, right? Lake levels are 599.7. Basically right at summer pool. The core seems to be dropping the lake down to 596. Not sure the reasoning for that, but with the water dropping, he says the fish will relocate. So, like I said earlier about fishing different lakes, and that was an example from Carlisle that I was talking about, but also applicable to, again, another Corps of Engineer lake. They drop the water, fish are going to move. So don't get stuck in one spot. Keep moving, move till you find something. That's been an overall theme I've been hearing all week. Is if they're not in one spot, move to another one because they're going to be there. So just got to keep going till you find them. But anyway, Steve is saying currently he's seeing the male crappie take on their spawn colors on here on April the 18th. I saw females with bloody egg sacs, so some spawning is starting. The weekend's cold weather will slow things up a bit, but they're really dedicated to the process, if you will, and the bite should still be good. Said today we boated 3-man limit in under 3 hours. Says he's putting both of his customers up front with me, and they're tight lining a minnow on a drop shot rig and just hammering them. I'm assuming on probably different structure. If I had to guess, Christmas trees or what they call Shelbyville cubes, which are PVC cubes that the Habitat Alliance puts out. Didn't say particularly what kind of structure, but and then he says he's also fishing with 3/32 deep ledge jig, which is a jig that he makes himself, and that's on his website, lakeshelbyvilleguide.com. Pretty nice jig heads. I own a bunch of them. I like them. And anyway, he said he's using a brush pile hammer, and today's colors were Wyatt's Blue Magic and Monkey Milk and Green Goblin were working as well. So overall diagnosis from Steve is crappie are really on fire, so get out there. Now, I've also seen some social media posts from some of the other guides up there. And for those who don't know, Lake Shelbyville, hey. Oh, we got Chris. Sorry, man. I'm not looking at comments at the moment. I was just yapping. But I'm on the fence, Chris, about getting a reel foot. I was going to talk about that here in a little bit because the weather is not looking great. And I don't know how many times you've been fishing there, but if the weather's, if it turns out like they're saying it's going to be 16 mile an hour winds from the south, it's not going to be fun out there, man. I'm just telling you right now, it ain't going to be no fun because there's other places on the lake to go hide, but it's not ideal as to where you want to be. So I'm still on the fence. I'm still thinking about it, but I'll come back to it, man. Anyway, but I was reading a few social media posts from some of the other guides, and at Lake Shelbyville, as many of you know, if you don't, slip corking with a jig is a thing there, and we're talking not slip corking in 3 foot of water. We're talking 8 to 10 to 12 to 25 feet of water, depending on time of year. And I've seen some of the other guides mentioning that they're slip corking right now over structure. So that'd be those Shelbyville cubes. That'd be Shelbyville stumps. Probably Christmas trees, standing timber, stuff like that. So um, that definitely that's something worth a look there at Shelbyville too. Um, so, like I say, kind of extrapolating both the report from 2 days ago, 3 days ago now, and what I'm seeing from some of the other guides there. So, and if you don't know how to do that, hire a guide and they'll show you. So, Steve does that as well. So, all right, we're gonna move away from that then. Shelbyville, I think we got covered. Check, put a check mark by it, so I don't repeat it. Let me come back to the stream. All right. So, hey Chris. So, by the way, guys, we got Chris from Asleep at the Reel Fishing. Uh, he's on tonight, and as always, make sure you go check out his channel when you get a chance. He's got some great content on there. He's a Texas fella, and he's got a lot of good stuff on there. So, but Chris, in terms of Reelfoot, like say, I was gonna bring a buddy of mine down with me. We are gonna come down like Saturday, early Saturday, grab a room and stay Saturday, Sunday, probably fish Saturday, Sunday, and part of the day Monday before we headed home. But at this particular juncture, the way the weather's looking, unless something changes, it's looking, and I got rain suit. I ain't worried about a little rain. But if the wind's blowing like they're saying it's going to be, it's probably going to be a no go for me. I've fought the wind too many. I fought the wind there too many times to try to scratch out a few fish. Not where I could do the same thing here at home and spend a whole heck of a lot less money. So. Um, but that's what I know about that. So I'll let you know, man. I'll message you as time gets closer because my calendar's still open. I haven't committed to anything else. So say if that forecast changes, then I might never know. Might make it happen. But nothing else. I might drive down for a day just to maybe grab a bite with you and have a chat or something. So we'll see. I'm totally on the fence. So, but all right. So anyway, moving on then to okay. So I had a question from Old Boy Outdoors, and I hope he's still around. He says he's not been out on Rend or Crab Orchard Lake yet. Have you had good results? On Crab Orchard, yes. I haven't been on Rend yet, and my guide buddy up there, he said up until this cold front came through that they had been going fish had just been going crazy for a month. So I hear they've kind of slowed down with the colder weather. That may or may not say it's the end of it, but he said they've been up shallow and the water has come up quite a bit, so there might be an opportunity to go fish in the buckbrush coming up. So, and that might pull them fish up in that brush too. With the after the water, after the cold weather's gone. Excuse me. Oh, man. But yeah, so we're. But I'll know more about that on Thursday, hopefully. Like I say, we're going to try to get out there and have a little afternoon, check things out, see how things go, and film some content. So, but Crab Orchard, yes, I was out there Thursday. I got started out. I was kind of spider rigging back in Grassy Bay, and it was real super calm. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody turned on a fan, and wind started blowing. It was like I'd like two fish in a boat, so I was like, oh, screw this. So I went and hid kind of out of the wind, I was just kind of like, well, I'll go over here and throw a jig around for a minute and see what happens. And I was like, there was a shoreline. There was like a, um, all right, old boy. Hey, come back and rewatch this. You'll find out more about Crab Orchard. You have a good evening, buddy. Yeah, I know 4 a.m. I've 5:30 is about the same for me. But yeah, so anyway, I was just moved over by the shoreline that was out of the wind and had some lily pad, like some lily pad stems in there. It hadn't grown up yet, and it's like, yeah, I'll just throw around in here for a little bit. And I was really looking at the shoreline, so more so than the vegetation. And it turns out I needed to be in the vegetation. So like my first cast, cork went down. I was throwing a little 2-inch brush pile jigs dart in glow green under a bobber about a foot deep, and threw it up by the bank. Bam! Went. I was like, okay, that's fine. It is a little fish. You know, that's kind of par for the course for Crab Orchard. You're gonna catch a lot of little fish, right? Then you'll catch some bigger ones. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep throwing. I kind of threw around in those lily pads, and pretty soon I had 10 fish in a boat. I was like, oh, okay. So and I was like, well, I noticed there's some more. I noticed there was some more lily pads over here, and then there was some more lily pad stems over here by the bank, like 3 foot of water. So I'm like, yeah, that'll be fun, Chris. Yeah, grizzly jig. You always, always great to stop in there if you got time to kill. That's for sure. That's usually what we do if if we get blown off the lake there. We'll go over to grizzly jig. Except for Sundays because they're closed on Sundays. But yeah, we have found our way over there multiple times over the years when the wind was blowing crazy and we didn't want to be on the water, so or got tired of not catching fish, right? But yeah, the bluegill ought to be in the trees right now, so that ought to be fun. And even if you're fishing those trees, if you're fishing those trees there, they have what they call the root ball. Basically it's like an umbrella at the base of the tree, and you got to drop that jig right up next to that umbrella, and those bluegill are hanging out under there because they're kind of sitting there waiting for the what do you call it, mayfly hatch, and those little mayflies, those little piece particles or whatever fall down in the water, they gobble that stuff up. But so yeah, def that ought to be fun. But so even if you were doing that on a windy day, say the wind's blowing out of the south, if you're fishing on that south bank, you ought to be all right. But that that south bank usually gets a lot of pressure. But ought to be a lot of fun though, man. Yeah, that'll be fun. So yeah, it's not a casting thing. No, you got to flip up there. Try to cast under those. You're asking for trouble. That is fun. Um, anyway, where was I? Oh, Crab Orchard. So anyway, yeah, I just started running along that shoreline, and yeah, there are a lot of places where shoreline is just covered up with different, like uh, different types of vegetation you know uh, that are not lily pads, right? And it is when you try to cast in that, it's just it's like, please just give me a break. Go somewhere else. If you start casting a bank, you're in a bunch of vegetation. Just move to somewhere else because you're not not going to be worth your time. But yeah, I was up in those lily pads and just I mean, pretty much every other cast. Of course, I caught a couple big gnarly catfish while I was at it. So, and then there's some yellow bass in there, some other couple bass here and there. So, oh, but there's all kinds of stuff up there hanging out in those lily pads. So, don't be afraid to get up in there and cast. But just like a foot under a bobber, bounce it around, and I had a blast that day. So. So I'm going to check Crab Orchard off the list now that I've talked about that. And um, Rend, let me get to my phone here real quick. Yeah, Grizzly is an amazing store, Chris. If you haven't been, it's you can if you're really into the whole shopping for tackle experience. I mean, man, they got it. They got everything. Everything you might desire. That's for sure. And if they don't have it in the store, they probably got it in their catalog. So, all right, all right. Let me get back to Rend Lake. Okay, so since we're on the topic of Rend Lake, we'll bring that up too. So, this is from and yeah, that Crab Orchard report was from me personally. So I don't have any other info on that. I know Saturday, I drove by there Saturday morning, Saturday morning, and man, it was busy. I mean, there were boats everywhere up in the shallows, So hopefully they were, hopefully they were, hopefully they were whacking them. So, but again, that was right after that cold front came through, so maybe slowed down from 'em. Hey, Mr. Victor, how you doing, buddy? I see you made it. All right, so anyway, Rend Lake. So this is from Jason Miles with, gosh, he's got a lot of titles. He works for the water department, but no, he's what the heck is that? Oh, okay. Like somebody waving at me? What's going on there? So anyway, Jason is with Rend Lake Fishing Trips. He's got him and his brother guide with Rend Lake Fishing Trips. I think they have a combined like 50 years of experience guiding on Rend Lake, so they might know a thing or two, just a thing or two. And then they also run Mafia rods, so you'll see in I haven't had a lot of content with Mafia rods as of yet, but I will. We got a bunch filmed, so you're going to see a lot of Mafia rods in my content with the YouTube channel. So definitely something worth looking at. Nice rods, good good prices, very sensitive, and still a lot of backbone. So, and that's one of the things we're probably going to be trying to do is do some buckbrush fishing with them on Thursday. So, look forward to it. But anyway, so his report from Jason Miles is water has been rising over the last few days. Fish are moving. Again, common theme, right? So fish are on the move. They're not necessarily where you think they're going to be, but they are spawning somewhere. They're just moving around. So it says crappie are biting in the front edges of the buckbrush and shallow deadfalls. So I'm assuming that the lake, I mean, it's just slightly like a foot above normal because I think it says lake water level is 407 and steady. I think normal pool is 406. So it's a little high, but not high enough to be like way up into buckbrush, if you will. So, but it says crappie are biting on in the front edges of the buckbrush and shallow deadfalls. Minnows are doing well, but the jig bite is still very good. And then we go to catfish. Catfish are moving to the same shallow water as well. Shad, night crawlers, and minnows are working well. Water temperature is 65 degrees, and lake water level is 407.39. So again, just slightly above pool. So, and he said they're holding steady there. That's not a well, that is Core Lake, I guess, but it's not on Kaskaskia, so I don't think they do the whole dramatic dropping it and raising it and stuff like that, like they do at the other at Shelbyville and Carlisle. So I don't think it's so much of a flood management thing as it is on the Kaskaskia. So is my assumption anyway. So, but you know what you get when you assume things, right? All right. So I think that covers us for Rend Lake, and then I got one more, actually two. Um, so this and again, make sure you check out Rend Lake Fishing Trips and or Mafia Rods while you're at it. Go give them a look and a like. They got some good products for you, and they also do some catfish stuff too. They actually do some hogging stuff in the summertime, so that's interesting. So I got bit by a big old gnarly catfish the other day. So fishing for them little crappie, and I caught a big old catfish. So anyway, for Carlisle, this comes to you from Scott Kendall from Drop Shot Guide and Tackle Services out of Centralia, Illinois. He primarily guides on Carlisle Lake, but then he does some Rend Lake stuff too. And he is he also makes tackle. You want to talk about some fine, super fine jig heads? You need to see his stuff. I mean, he makes some high quality jig heads. I mean, I know I own a bunch of them, and so we were at the we were at the show in Collinsville over the winter, and they had a bunch of his stuff there, and I'm like, yeah, count me in. I'll take four boxes of them. Yeah, so I loaded up on them, and really like his jig heads and just the whole setup. So, um, but man, you can wear those things out on the rocks, and the paint just don't come off of them. So they're really high quality. But so his report then, and he makes hand ties. He makes plastics as well. So definitely give him a look, check him out, and see what he's got to offer. Um, get a little drink here. It's getting a tiny bit froggy. All right. So for Carlisle Lake, he's saying the spawn is getting started. Fish are being caught from as shallow as a foot deep to as deep as 7 foot. Concentrate on rocks for the super shallow bite, while laydowns and wood cover will produce in the deeper part of that, 7 foot or so. Minnows, plastics, and hair jigs all working. And the theme of the night: move, move, move. Cover water. If you're not finding one place, move to another. Don't get stuck. And that's me, man. I do that a lot. I get out on the lake and I'm like, man, I caught them here last year. I know they're here, and I'm pretty soon I'm mad. I'm like, dang it. I should probably go somewhere else. Go try something different, right? So that's that's a fault of mine. I get stuck on stuff, especially on live scope. If I'm live scoping, I tend to get stuck on unproductive structure, because I'm not I'm not totally sure what I'm looking at when I when I'm looking at it on live scope, especially standing timber. That's been a struggle of mine. Something I got to work out, but it is um, where a lot of guys would, you know, who know their stuff would be moving through that stuff and scanning and looking, and then they're going to pass on this one, they'll pass on that one, they'll pass on that. But ooh, look at that one right there. So it might 3 out of 4 things they look at, they're going to pass on and go to something that looks interesting. Where I'm fishing all 4 of them. I'm spending 10 minutes on each one, you know, and it's bad habit, I guess. Still stuck in the old times where you fish. You just dip on everything you see, right? But got to get over that. Got to keep myself moving, right? So, and but we'll figure that out. But again, theme of the night is move, move, move. Don't sit in one spot. If you might catch a couple, then nothing. Move on down the way, find something else. So, but it is full on spawn here in Southern Illinois. You just gotta keep looking for them. Don't get stuck in one spot. I went to Devil's Kitchen Lake. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with that, but I went to Devil's Kitchen Lake yesterday. I spent like 4 hours out there. There were so many boats on Crab Orchard and the wind was weird anyway. So I'm like, I'm just gonna pass on that, and I'll go somewhere that's a lot less traffic. So I went down to Devil's Kitchen, and there were more boats there than usual, but there was still, of a 10, probably a 15, probably a 12 spot parking lot. There were still like 4 spots open, right? Usually there's 10. If there's 2 or 3 boats on that parking lot, that's a busy day. But so it was busy. Saw a lot of the guys that think they were bass fishing, but I did kind of the same thing. I was out there throwing, and it's a lot deeper lake than Crab Orchard, so I was out there throwing a jig. I did a little just casting, slow retrieve, caught 1 fish on that, and then I was throwing a jig under a bobber. Same thing I was doing at Crab the other day. Same jig, as a matter of fact. And I was just, I'd throw, had it about 3 foot deep, and I'd throw it up, and Devil's Kitchen has a ton of vegetation in it. So I want to say an S ton of vegetation. How about that? And it, everywhere you throw, you're going to be in vegetation for the most part. But so what I was doing is I had that jig about 3 foot deep, and I'd throw up close near the bank, but not right up on it, and then just pull that jig until I didn't feel it bouncing off of vegetation anymore, and hold it, bounce, hold it, bounce, hold, bam, So had a lot of action, caught a lot of small fish, man. And man, let me tell you, those blackfish out of that clear water are just beautiful. I mean, they were pretty fish, and I caught. It's funny. I got the first spot I stopped at, I didn't think I'd catch anything because it's not one of my normal haunts. But first spot I stopped at, I caught 3 keepers, caught 10, 11-inch fish, and then probably half a dozen short ones, little ones. So it's like, hey, this is going to be a good day. And then as the longer I went and the more the wind blew, it didn't get much better than that. I figured it'd be just on like Donkey Kong, but I had that lake. You struggle to stay on spots, and then I went back into real stumpy stuff, and you don't get a break back there. You're gonna bounce off stuff. If you don't want to scratch your boat, you don't want to go back there. That's all I can say, because you're gonna put some dents in it, man. But so I bounced around back there, back in this one really stumpy creek for a while, and I caught a bunch of fish up by stumps by the bank, and like I say, 3 foot deep under a bobber, just bouncing that jig along, and didn't catch any trout this time, surprisingly. Usually trout pop up when I'm doing that too, but I don't think they may not like the green. I know they like pink, but but yeah. So a little bonus info there. So Devil's Kitchen. You know, it's not really known for crappie, but I tell you what, you can really get into some nice numbers of fish when it's right. I have in the past, and you know, uh, heck, I think me and a couple buddies like brought home like 45 out of there, and there weren't no monsters. There was maybe one 14-inch fish, but they're mostly smaller black crappie males. But then usually the bigger ones you get into are uh, white crappie, and they're the bigger females. So, but those are kind of far and few between. You know, I've caught a few there over the years, but they're mostly the blackfish. But it was fun, except for the wind. And about 4 o'clock, it got cold enough that I wasn't dressed appropriately for it. So I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm out of here. I've seen what I need to see. So, but all fish swam free that particular day. You know, so they'll be there next time you go. But I think that covers the fishing report. Anybody got any questions? Any comments? Anything to add? And again, that's a little bit of catfish, but mostly walleye or not walleye stuff. Walleye. Why have I got walleye? Oh, because Steve said something about walleye in his report, um, but mostly crappie stuff. A little bit of other, but yeah. So that's what I know for the moment on the fishing report, and then I'm just gonna go to my personal stuff, the YouTube and stuff like that. So YouTube, I just posted an episode this evening. It's just kind of a fun little thing that we did with when we went to Lake Fork uh, in March, and we'd actually run it. The fellow we were fishing with, he's tournament partners with Fishing Ken from Hook City TV on YouTube. If you don't know him, you should. You should definitely go check him out. He's a lot of fun to watch. Him and his dad fishing all the time. Uh, Great people too. Met them down in Texas. They're just awesome people. Um, but so anyway, we show up at Lake Fork, and as we're getting ready to get going and fish with Kyron, uh, he's got Ken on the phone with him, and Ken's like, "Hey, I need to hear some hee haws from you guys, because anybody knows fishing Ken or watches him, when he catches a big fish, he goes hee haw, right? So he's like, I need to hear that from you guys, right? So like, I try we tried to oblige him. So that episode was kind of about that. We had a little fun with it. It was one of them things where just kind of a fun video. Wasn't so much about catching fish. We caught fish. I mean, it's kind of a reboot of last week's episode, actually, but just some of the outtakes from it where we were, trying to sound like a donkey, and we sounded more like a cowboy. Stuff like that, right? So, but it was a lot of fun. Me and Stu had a blast with Kyron, and just thought that'd be a kind of a fun little episode to throw out there. But next couple episodes going to be more from Lake Fork, when we fished a couple days on our own, or a day and a half on our own. And that's probably going to be titled something like, "All right, hey, Victor, I thought you were retired, man. Where you got to go? Where do you have to go since you're retired, buddy?" That's what I want. That's what I need to know. Giving Victor some business here, but we'll talk at you later, bud. Give me a holler. Text me. Uh, but yeah, so and I think though that at least one of those episodes is going to be titled something to the effect of why I still suck at LiveScope or something along that effect because at the end of the day, you know, if I'm in standing timber or unfamiliar water or someplace especially standing timber for whatever reason, it don't. I'm not figuring it out yet, So something I got to work on. Um, the uh, but yeah, one of those episodes is going to be I still suck at live scope or something to that effect. So because we had fun fishing. We catch a bunch of fish? No, and I think there's various factors to that too. Because like if I were in a boat by myself, um, and not trying to I had two other guys with me, right? So and the way my boat's set up is I can't with my live scanner deal. Well, I guess I can, but I haven't tried it. I can't sit two guys down in front of me and then stand up behind them and run the live scope and all that. Uh, but I guess I need to try it. But I've got two seats on the front, but I don't, unless one of the guys is standing up. But what I'm trying to do, I've got three guys in the boat with me. I'm trying to accommodate everybody, right? So if I'm by myself, I know I don't have to worry about making sure Donnie's seeing his stuff and maybe Stu's seeing his stuff or what have you. So um, it's kind of a balancing act, if you will. But I gotta I gotta work my way through that. I gotta figure out how to make that work. Or I can make it work pretty well with two guys. Three is a little bit much, but I'm better at stake beds, and I'm not a like I said, I'm not a guy that's going to sit there and break down a piece of structure and say, okay, there's 10 fish in here, but I want to target these two, right? I can see them, but I can't tell you if that one's a 10-incher or that one's a 2-incher or what have you, right? I mean, uh, I'm not I'm not that guy, you know. So um, so anyway, why I suck at live scope, something like that. So, but that might be controversial. Nobody may care either, So we'll see. Um, but our trip to Truman Lake kind of inspired that because we went to Truman last weekend, not this past few days, but the weekend before, and we spent 4 days there. Last year at this time, fish were on the banks, and man, let me tell you, it was a blast. Casting up to the bank, jig under a bobber about a foot deep, and just tearing them up, right? Um, However, this year they weren't quite there yet. They weren't on the bank yet. Um, I understand it was maybe a little early for that last year, so had to resort to live scope. And let me tell you, I suck at live scope, especially in standing timber. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about it now. But yeah, so it was a rough few days, and even the guys that are really good at it, they didn't fill up their boats either. Our buddy Darren and Wyatt, who usually they're on the water for a couple hours, they got their limits of fish, they're done. Um, they were out there most of the day. The one day we got to fish together with them, and I think they wound up with 16. So uh, it was a tough go, and even for the guys that really know their business, So I don't feel so bad about it, but I still need to figure that stuff out. But to the larger point, we went to Truman Lake and we had our first, I guess you could say, first annual brush pile jigs crappie camp, spring crappie camp, and beyond the beyond the fishing not being so great, it was fantastic time. As when we go to Truman Lake, we have associates that hang out there, right? We have some friends that show up, and we have a big feast on Saturday night, and this was no different. Um, we had, of course, the Mushroom Queen. We cannot talk about this whole thing without talking about the Mushroom Queen because this girl, I don't know, she's got an uncanny ability to find morels, and I know a lot of you guys, ooh, morels. That's like the holy grail, right? Uh, she she just absolutely she just absolutely kills on finding morel mushrooms in the spring, and she didn't disappoint this year. She she even got a trophy. So that's how good she is. But so she found a bunch of morels. Um, we had we had a fish. Uh, Wyatt and Wyatt and Darren and Tommy and I think Danny or Dexter. One was in. Oh, uh, Danny or Dexter was involved too, and they fried up a bunch of fish, fried up a bunch of morels. We had deer sausage. We had what was that cake? What was that cake called? Uh, it was sugar free, and it was like a punch bowl cake. So it was like in this giant punch bowl, and it was like little pieces of cake ripped up, and then there's some goo in there, some like frosting stuff, what whip topping, um, lots of fruits, and man, let me tell you, ooh, yeah, and it was pretty. It was pretty to boot, but man, it was good. But yeah, we had an absolute feast, and just the conversations with all the different parties and everything was just it was so cool. It was awesome, and as always, I got to thank the Tucker crew and uh, Helga and the Brian for hosting us for that. It was a great time. Of course, we got Tommy Todd, Dexter, Danny Ballinger, the other guys from St. Louis that I can't ever seem to remember their names, but they were there last year and fun bunch of guys. And we just had, and of course we had myself, Stu, Donnie, uh, Jennifer and Lee from Brushpile Jigs. Got the CEOs out for this one, and they were invited this time. So, and it was just an amazing time. Regardless of whether or not the fish were biting, it was just a great time. And as bonus, I learned how to use the mapping on my boat finally on my Humminbird unit. It only took me I don't know 4 years, but it definitely comes in useful on a lot of the lakes I go to. It don't matter. I mean, I know my way around, but unfamiliar water like Truman and maybe like if I ever go to Shelbyville and do much there, that mapping is going to come in very very useful. And so finally figured it out. And all it took was one touch of a button. So I'm on my map screen. And I'm showing the little, here's the boat icon, and it's got the little green thing pointing, but it's just white. I'm like, why don't this map thing work? And so I reached over, I went, beep, I hit the minus button, and it made this, it downsized it. I was like, wait, what is that? I see blue on it now. Did it again, and about 3 hits in, I'm like, wait a minute, it's showing the channels. So I'm like, wow, hey, I'm onto something here. So if nothing else, I learned how to use my mapping. So I will not be so shy about zooming around on uh, Truman Lake next time I go. So, and there will be a next time. But yeah, it was an amazing time, and we had a blast, and you know, good crew of folks, and we're looking to have a fall event in the same manner, probably at Rend Lake. So uh, definitely gonna. And that, we're looking at maybe doing that for like a bridge bite at Rend Lake. So, and I'm kind of good at that. I usually do pretty good at that business there, but uh, it's hard not to really. But if the fish are biting, they're biting. You're gonna catch a bunch. But uh, yeah, um, where was I going? But yeah, amazing time, amazing people. That's what we did last weekend, and we'll have some content from that. After the day, like the first day we fished like half a day, the wind blew us off, and then we took off. And the Airbnb we were staying at, they had a strip lake that that we could go fish on, and we fished on there for a little while, played around. It was a little less windy, but uh, we caught one little crappie. But the wind was just, it was blowing like 40 mile an hour. What can you do with that? So um, we so we called it an early day, and then the next day we got to fit. Or let's see, I don't know, I forget, but we got to fish on, I think it was on Thursday or Friday. Let's say it was Friday. But the whole crew came out on Friday. So we had Darren White and Carol, aka the Mushroom Queen, in their boat, and then we had me and Stu and Donnie in my boat. We had Lee Sharp in his boat. Jennifer had to step away for a day, but and then let's see. We had Tommy Todd out in his boat, and did we have anybody else? No, it was just Tommy. No Dexter this time. I don't know where Dexter was, but maybe he didn't get invited. Not sure. Maybe he was working or something too. But yeah, but yeah, it was awesome, and I'm gonna move toward closing this out because it's 9 o'clock. It's almost past my bedtime. Time to take the dog out and go to bed. But yeah, I'm hoping you're getting something out of that fishing report though. Definitely feel free to share the video, and it should be on the Southern Illinois Fishing Intel page. Also, it'll be on my Panfish Guy page. Of course, my regular Facebook. I'm gonna spread it around. So, uh, hope to get a bunch of followers, new folks on the Southern Illinois Fishing Intel. It is closed for comment. I mean, you can comment on a post, but you can't post there because I was gonna open it up as a group, and I was like, I don't need the drama. I don't need the drama on that, So it's kind of a closed page, but if I post something, um, or if I have other contributors join the page, then you'll be able to comment and respond to those posts. And if you want to throw your own stuff on there, that's fine. I don't care. But um, it is it's for now it's going to be a closed page, but never know, might open it up if we get some others involved, want to be admins or something. We might open that up a little bit, make it a little different. So, but we'll see. But beyond that, like I say, you share the video, share the page link, help grow that page. I'd appreciate it. Um, anything I was talking earlier about Chris with Asleep at the Reel Fishing. He's going to be down at Reelfoot Lake, and I'm still on the fence about getting down there. So if that weather report improves for next Sunday, Monday, I might. But it's at as we speak, it's looking a little tough. So those are those are the days that the wind's blowing 17 mile an hour out of the south, sustained with gusts. You just probably want to go find something else to do, like go to Grizzly J, like Chris said. So, um, but or go hang out at the Fish Shack or something. What's the name of that place again? Dang, I'll remember it as soon as I sign off. But anyway, uh, yeah. So that's really all. I don't have a lot planned coming up. Of course, I do got a lot of do want to get into a lot of bluegill content this year. I lost a lot of the stuff I had filmed from last year when my hard drive bit the dust on me. So I finally got the word that it was not repairable. So lost a lot of content out of that. But the what was I going to say? Got some. So yeah, there is some real foot stuff I'm gonna do probably May, but I got nothing solid on the books. Bunch of bluegill stuff May, June. What else is there gonna be? Kentucky Lake. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna say, look, I'm gonna make it to Kentucky Lake, and get that over with. It might be walleye camp and some kind of walleye camp thing. Lee Sharp said something about a walleye camp, so I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but yeah, I'm all about let's go catch some walleye. So I got gear for that. I can do it. I can do it. But anyway, no, I don't have a bunch more going on, but like I say, guys, get a chance, check out the Southern Illinois Fishing Intel page. If you're watching from another location like the Southern Illinois Fishing Intel page or Panfish Guy, make sure you check out my website, panfishguy.com. I got Twitter and all that stuff, but I don't post on there very often. And then, of course, my page here where I'm broadcasting from is PFG Fishing on YouTube. So, and please, I can't imagine any of you haven't, but if you're not checking out Fishing Ken from Hook City TV, you just got to go. You got to do it. Okay, that's all. So anyway, I'm gonna let you all go. It's past my bedtime. Gonna go take the dog outside, maybe have a little snack, and then head off to bed. So y'all have a good night. We'll do this again in a couple weeks. Yeah, I don't have anything on the agenda, so in a couple weeks we'll do this again. And oh yeah, happy birthday to me. 3 days. It's going to be one of the milestone birthdays. So I'm going to graduate from how do you say that? I'm going to graduate from the I'm trying to figure out how to phrase that. I'm going to graduate from the hey. Do you get a senior discount? To, oh yeah, definitely that guy gets the senior discount. So I'm graduating, if you will. So anyway, I'll let y'all go. You have a good evening, and we'll talk in a couple weeks. I'm trying to stick to my Sunday schedule for videos, so might be couple little shorts that come out through the weeks too. So anyway, later guys, we'll talk soon.